The 2025 January transfer window is over. Done and dusted for Manchester United, and we need to speak about it real quick.
Hey, ready up.
Good or bad, it's a must. Preparations keep pre-match leave a fuss. When the whistle blows, stipulations in the field like a wrestling match. Target, lock them up. Progress on the opposite, believe in divine time. 3H is my time. Load them up with a pinpoint aim. Just two-man step for boots in the field, it's prime time. We are fit anyway, especially ballers. Touch every 4-4 corners. Open clear set piece with delivering trauma. It's like a TV drama, cover every genre. I rush short for the next team. You say they're hot on Marga, left and right. 2 C's up top for the win. Us twins leave dust on the CB's armor.
Blessings to everybody inside. Just a one-on-one conversation this time around. So safe to say, with the nature of how this season has gone down for Manchester United, the hope was to see names come through the door that would, in theory, help to improve the team in terms of performances and results. Initially, on my part, expectations were quite low for a number of reasons. The press that was constantly swarming around regarding United's PSR situation may have been a clear indication of not just what was to come in the previous month, but also what this summer could entail also, which is probably something you guys don't want to hear, all of us don't want to hear, and we'll get to that a little later. The two notable outgoings on loan were Marcus Rashford to Aston Villa, which includes a buy option for £40 million, I believe. This was one of the main talking points ever since the interview with Henry Winter came out in December, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Time does move fast. That also succeeded him being left out for the Manchester City game mid-December as well. Garnacho was out for that one too. And we all know the conversations that surround Marcus Rashford at all times. It must be tiring. I know it is for me. Terrell Malacia also, as I speak, is finalising his loan move to PSV, moving back to Holland from now till the summer, where I'm sure his future at the club will be assessed. Come to think about it, most of the conversations regarding Manchester United's January window were about outgoings, because the ideology was that we needed to offload to reload. Hence why transfers for Garnacho to Napoli, for example, or Chelsea were entertained at specific stages because a potential fee seemed enticing, I guess, to hierarchical figures. That didn't materialize either. So, in summary, the focus wasn't ever about bringing in players, and more so masking that with constant news about financial restrictions and the potential repercussions that may have followed. Ruben Amorim, since coming to Manchester United, has lost more league games than his last 75 at Sporting. There's a feeling of struggle and frustration when you focus on his mannerisms on the touchline, trying to get messages across to a team that can often seem trapped in a boat filled with water. At times, you may have thought surely Amorim would have received some guarantees upon negotiating his arrival, due to him having an original stance of not wanting to leave Sporting until the end of the season, and also knowing the current situation of where this club stands. There hasn't been a visual example of progression. Standing-wise, results remain inconsistent and rather erratic, much like the nature of our performances, depending on the opposition, of course. Yes, we added Patrick Dorgu from Lecce in what I predict will be, who I predict will be the starting left wing back once he gets up to speed. There will be question marks over him and what he can provide in both ways going forwards, which most importantly has been a deficiency within our existing wing-back play since switching to that 3-4-3 formation. And I use that loosely because shapes and formations are very adaptable these days. But much like what I've said previously, even in our match reaction on Monday, though, the focus remains on Ruben Amorim needing to find consistency from within. Survival of the fittest from February to May. Will he be able to achieve that? Will the players be able to raise their levels of performances in order to put together a solid collection of encounters ending in victory? That question is yet to be answered. We're already starting to hear from the press about the struggles that will be presented to Manchester United this summer in terms of incomings. We know that Victor Lindelof, Christian Eriksen, Johnny Evans and Tom Heaton's contracts expire in the summer. Casemiro may be on his way out too with his lack of involvement, looking like it will remain that way for the foreseeable. We know about the Rashford and Sancho situation at Chelsea too. So for me, it's always been about how we decide to build up this squad in terms of bringing in players that fit not just technically and physically, but on a mental level. Bringing in characters that can handle the levels of burden and hardship it takes to survive in this current climate, which consumes you. Call it a spade. Manchester United are like a boat that's set out to sail. So you do your final inspections and realize there's a massive hole in the lower deck. But still you have a false sense of optimism in thinking that you could just patch it up and get to your destination, get going. And then when it's too late, your fate's already been decided. But that cycle just continues to go round and round in circles. No accountability to learn from fatal mistakes. They just keep on happening. How do you break that cycle? By establishing real cultural change, not by vocal delivery, but by physical labor. And that doesn't just start with the players. It starts with the so-called leaders that were brought in to transform things, setting examples that bring levels of simplicity and understanding to the non-negotiables in excellent conduct. Aiden Haven was our additional signing in January, who will immediately become a part of the first team squad. Another young defender prospect to 18 years of age who will be looking to develop. And you can't help but think now that, you know, with Lisandro Martinez being out with an ACL injury for the rest of this campaign, and a little longer than that too, does he become even more of an option quicker than scheduled? There's also, on the other side of the pitch, been plenty of focus on a front line that has become even thinner. Ahmad, Garnacho, Xerxes and Højlund. We're down to 4, but to be honest, it really doesn't even feel like that much on a scale of output. As we saw against Crystal Palace, will the false 9 experiments continue with the likes of Kobe? Bruno has played there in the past also. Do you dip into the youth setup even? There's a lot of fanfare regarding Chido Obi Martin, who's scoring goals for fun at academy level, but I feel that from a tactical standpoint, we need to sort out the issues revolving around that striker's position before even thinking about other options, because I feel it's even bigger than the personnel who get deployed on a game-by-game basis. A focal point that for too long has been an outsider in fixtures, lacking involvement in the most important areas of the pitch. Simply put, the team around the striker has to improve tenfold in order to facilitate goal-scoring opportunities for an established goal scorer. Otherwise, we'll just continue to have lifeless figures deserted on an empty island with no resources, left for dead essentially. In the comments, let us know what you thought of Manchester United's January window. Very uneventful in my eyes, which was to be expected. Not to say I'm not disappointed, but that's life sometimes at Manchester United. You soak up and accept that this is who we are and where we are. And what we are too. Who, what, where, when, why. Let me know in the comments also what your expectations are for the remainder of this season and the next transfer window, if you think that far ahead. Hit that like button. Subscribe to CM22 if you're new. Share to your friends and frenemies. And until the next time, I'll see you lots in a bit.
Keep calm, composed, and just know your role when the Don's inside. Better hide what you're stashing. On the field, just one ball dominates. 22 egos fighting to tag in. Rough and rugged. It's like old school.